guys, welcome to the Trash Picture Show. I was tagged by the awesome Hey Internet Eric here, and he has launched his own new tag. There's so many tags going around, and it's so hard to keep on top of all of them. It took me a long while to get to this one. And yeah, if you haven't checked out Eric's channel, check out his channel, give him a sub. I've chatted to him on a few occasions, and a few times I've talked to him, he has come across as one of the nicest, salt of the earth, down to earth guys there is. So give his channel a look and definitely subscribe because he knows his stuff. He is super fun and super down to earth, and he's a really cool guy. So definitely give him a look. So yeah, his tag is Hey Internet Horror Here tag. It's 12 questions. The bastard wants me dead, obviously. He's trying to hit me with 12 questions. Really cool, fun questions. Made me think a lot. And yeah, I am going to tag some people at the end. But if you get a chance and you're watching this randomly, give the tag a go. And definitely give Eric a shout out if you do decide to do this tag. So, question 1. Scariest Slasher. I'm actually going to go with Wolf Creek's Mick Taylor. Played fantastically by John Jarrett. For the simple reason is, out of all the slashers and killers there is, he's the most feasible. He's obviously based on Ivan Milat. If you're any bit kind of into serial killers and true crime and stuff, you'll know Ivan Milat was a backpack killer in the 70s and 80s, I think, in Australia, who killed a shitload of people and got away with it because he was basically operating out in the backs of beyond. And the thing is with Mick Taylor is, unlike Freddy, unlike Jason, unlike Michael, he is incredibly feasible. You could see someone like this existing because he's based off a real character. And that's scarier. That's scarier than any kind of supernatural boogeyman or reanimated fucking slasher. The fact that this guy is plausible and this guy could exist. So yeah, I don't know, maybe it isn't a right kind of answer, but I'm going to go with Mick Taylor. Because yeah, he's scary to me. Someone like him, someone who is a possibility of existing, is a scary fucking dude. Question 2. Worst horror sequel. Oh, Jesus, there's so many. There's so many shit horror sequels, but I am going to go with... I'm actually going to go with, I think, the last of the Phantasm sequels, because that one was a fucking disaster. It looked cheap. It killed off one of my favourite characters, and sadly it was Angus Shrimp's last hurrah, and it was really bad and shoddily made, and not a really good swan to the series. So yeah, I'm definitely going to go with the last. I think Phantasm. I think it was Phantasm 5. It was a terrible sequel. So yeah, I'm not a fan of. I love the Phantasm franchise, but that one was just a fucking disaster and a horrible way to go out. Question 3. A horror movie you wish more people talked about. Jeremy Gillespie's The Void. If you haven't seen this movie, you have to watch it. If you love 80s kind of body horror, or if you like the likes of cosmic horror, sometimes it's very Lovecraftian, definitely check it out. I've sang this praises in so many horror tags and horror videos. You need to check out The Void. More people need to talk about it. I think it is a modern classic that really doesn't get half enough attention that it should. So yeah, definitely check out The Void. Question 4. A horror you prefer more than the original? There's quite a few of them, but I'm thinking I'm going to go with The Blob, the remake of The Blob, because yeah, the Blob was very silly. The original one, you had you had a very kind of classic 50s B movie with people who were obviously in their 30s playing teenagers, and it was just so fucking silly and so stupid. And yeah, the remake is great. Written by Frank Darabont, some great character actors in it, and the effects are absolutely astounding. Even to this day, a lot of the effects really work. So yeah, definitely the Blob remake. That's the one I prefer to the original. Question 5. A horror that didn't live up to the hype. That one's easy. That is Eli Roth's first movie, Cabin Fever. I remember seeing the adverts and thinking, oh, this looks really good. This looks like a kind of modern take on Evil Dead. Really creative, really cool. And yeah, I went to see it in the cinema, and I thought it was all right. Just the magazines, Empire, Total Film. There wasn't really, the internet wasn't really around at that time. Well, the internet was around, but kind of internet reviews and stuff weren't as prevalent at that time. But stuff in newspapers and magazines and like TV movie reviewers kind of sang the movie's praises, and I just eh. I think Eli Roth, he's all talk and all style, but not much substance in these movies. And yeah, I I wasn't too gone on it. I just it was kind of shit. Question Next question. Question number 6. Favorite horror animal, Cujo. Um, for a simple reason, kind of tragic. If you've read the Stephen King book, it's a Saint Bernard, lovable Saint Bernard, who gets rabies and through no fault of his own becomes a killer. And the thing is, the idea that you could have an animal, something as lovable as a dog, and it gets infected and it turns into an absolute beast or a monster. That's terrifying. And then to think of a dog the size of a Saint Bernard turning into a rabid killer is absolutely fucking terrifying. And in a way as well, it's kind of tragic because it's not the dog's fault. And like old Yeller, it had to be it had to be dispensed of at the end. But yeah, again, Cujo, because it's a scary concept to think such a big animal was. I know it's not the scariest, that's my favorite, but just the idea of a big fucking dog going rabid scares the shit out of me. And yeah, that's my favorite horror animal. Question 7, favorite horror book. Have to go with James Herbert's The Rats. If you haven't read any of James Herbert's books, I highly recommend it. He does very visceral, very kind of nausea-inducing horror, but they're really well written, and he is a fantastic author. If you're looking for something different than Stephen King, definitely recommend James Herbert. But have to go with the phenomenal The Rats. Essentially, I think the story set the time of the book came out, late 70s, early 80s. A mutated form of rats descend upon London. They are larger, and their bite is fatal. And essentially, it seems that everyone in the city is susceptible to these absolutely vile monsters of rats. And Herbert, the way he writes the story, it feels like you're in said situation, and he's so descriptive on like how harrowing the attacks by the rats can be. It lingers with you long after you've read it. So if you get a chance, definitely check out James Herbert's The Rats. Next question, question 8. Favorite fire stunt? Oh, that is easy. Palmer's destruction halfway through John Carpenter's The Thing. Well, I think it's 3/4 of the way John Carpenter's The Thing, but essentially he turns into the Thing, and McCready torches him, and he ends up running straight through the wall, and they blow up the kind of ignited kind of dummy or corpse as well, and the explosion was so big it actually knocks Kurt Russell off his feet. So yeah, next time you're watching that, check out for that scene for Kurt Russell being knocked back by the explosion. But yeah, the fire burn in John Carpenter's The Thing. Question 9. Horror film you feel only you enjoy. There's quite a few. I do think a lot of people give it a lot of shit now to The Hitcher. When it came out, people loved it, but I for some reason people have seemed to taken a dislike to it and think it's very vapid, which I don't. I think it's an interesting kind of horror movie that a lot more people need to kind of go back and rewatch, because it is a good horror movie, and for some reason people just have seemed to have turned on it on the last couple of years. They seem to think that it's a very shallow movie, which I don't think so. It's an interesting look into like evil and how sometimes there is no explanation for it. I think a big influence on Heath Ledger's Joker is John Ryder from The Hitcher. And yeah, for some reason, it seems to be getting a lot of fucking hate of late. I do not know why. Question 10. Favorite horror creature? Oh, Jesus, I have so many, but definitely going to go with the xenomorph. The creature design is fantastic. I don't know if it's excluded because its host was a human, but yeah, it's Giger done a fantastic job sculpting and making this biomechanical monster. And I remember when I first saw the movie, I couldn't determine how many limbs it had, how big it was, how kind of how it attacked, but I just thought it was the coolest design, and it was one of the scariest creatures out there. Question 11. A horror movie you didn't expect to like but really did. Oh, Don't Breathe. That was really cool. Stephen Lan plays a blind veteran who stalks and hunts a group of teenagers who breaks into his house, and he's hiding a very harrowing secret. So yeah, really enjoyed that. Thought it was going to be some fucking Bloomhouse shite, and turned out to be really, really, really good. Most memorable horror ending? Question 12. I would have to go with Don't Look Now. The demise of Donald Sutherland, where a spoiler if you haven't seen the movie, switch off now. But he thinks he's found his daughter, and it's not, and it turns out to be a very, very, very shocking ending. So yeah, that was the 12 questions by Eric, and I am going to tag Rhapsody Review, Horror Retrospective, Full Moon, Wabanashi, Ethel Cross, and the Soulless Trenchcoat. And again, if you are watching this and you want to do the tag, do the tag, but maybe just make sure to give Eric a mention and link to his channel. I'm going to be linking his channel in the description below. And yeah, have a good one. Take care. Bye now.